Are you tired of sifting through endless health advice that promises quick fixes but delivers nothing but frustration? Welcome to the Anti-Macro Podcast, the go-to place for scientifically backed yet digestible health and fitness wisdom without the fads or gimmicks. Whether you're looking to ditch chronic dieting, optimize your hormone and gut health, or simply find balance in your wellness journey, you're in the right place. I'm Coach Diana Lee, your no-nonsense guide to transforming your health and mindset for the better. Each episode, I'll dive into topics ranging from nutrition basics to debunking common myths to cutting-edge functional health insights, sometimes featuring guest experts in the space. Get ready to learn, grow, and take actionable steps toward a healthier and happier you. So grab your favorite beverage, kick back, and let's dive in. I want to welcome Natalya to the podcast. So I always like to start by allowing you to introduce yourself to my listeners. Tell them a little bit about you, your journey within your career, and the people that you've worked with, and essentially how you've gotten to where you are today.
So overall, it's a really long story, and I'm not going to bother or bore your listeners with all the way from the beginning. But my name is Dr. Natalya Borakowski. I'm a naturopathic physician, and I arrived in medicine actually from beauty industry. And I have been always concerned with skin health and helping women to feel comfortable within their skin and feeling attractive. And that's sort of been my drive since I was a teenager. And it started off with me putting mascara and lipstick on the girls' faces, and now I am doing all kinds of different procedures. Essentially, my newest passion project, if you will, it's helping women to feel comfortable with their bodies, both like internally and externally. And it goes far beyond just taking care of your skin or taking care of your health from the diet point of view or talking about movement, because all of that is certainly part of us. But I think often what's missing in this conversation is our psychology, to really understanding that our face is not just a face. That's where your identity lives. And often we are bombarded by very toxic messages from beauty industry, social media. So girls from all ages, I have a 16-year-old daughter, and I'm just kind of seeing her blossoming into a young woman. It's also a little bit of heartbreaking, this is sort of my passion project, helping a woman to really fall in love with herself again and not very selfish way, and ultimately establish that notion of self-trust. So it's a very deep conversation. We can certainly dwell into that, but my mission is to helping women to feel attractive and to really trusting the process of regardless what age she is, and meet herself with love and compassion. Doesn't matter, again, what stage of life she is at.
And I love that because I also think that, you're in the aesthetics business. And I think for a lot of women right now, there's a polarizing conversation happening around aesthetics, right? Some women are all for it. They're like, this is empowering for us to be able to modify ourselves however we want to and whatnot. But there are other women who see it as this pressure to look a certain way and kind of taking things too far. And so I love the approach that you're taking right now with focusing a lot more on female empowerment through this methodology and also looking at the psychological aspect. So what kind of things have come up along that journey, right? When we're talking about the psychology and also in the aesthetics business, what are you seeing?
Well, let's start with first. Aesthetic medicine is a very powerful medicine, but it's still medicine. And you're right, there are two very polar opinions right now about beauty industry in general. So we have people who are welcoming this and overdoing it, and now we have this whole drive of plastic surgery is horrible, injectables terrible, they will disfigure you. Ultimately, what I'm trying to teach is medicine just offer tools. The problem becomes it's when we have cultural fear driving the message, and then women go to polar negatives, right? So they either go to too much or not doing it at all. The truth is, it's always in the middle. It's you age however you want to age. Do you want to age with hair dye and red lipstick? There's nothing wrong with it. We really shouldn't be shaming women for making the choices. And if the woman decides to age with gray hair, then power to her. The woman can look absolutely stunning and radiant regardless of what she does to her face. But ultimately, it comes from within. If the woman is comfortable with what she is, truly with her identity, her presentation, regardless of her looks, she carries that irresistible energy, and then she becomes truly magnetic. She is so wonderful to be around. She radiates this love because she internally loves herself. And that's really what my passion is about, to helping every girl discover that.
Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense. And well, I said it makes a lot of sense, but I think for a lot of women, they might kind of sit there and go, but does it? Right. And so I hope to unpack that a little bit more through this.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
specifically said something, right, which is there are individuals who take this thing too far. And I think culturally, we've seen this a lot. We're not just seeing it in aesthetics, but we're also seeing it in health and fitness with the rise of all of these different things, right? GLP-1s and whatnot. And ultimately, many women feel like if they just had like the right skincare or the right supplement or the right treatment, then things would finally click and they would actually love themselves. So, from your perspective, where is that mindset working against women?
Well, ultimately, it's all start with the question why. Of whatever modality you choose, either you want to use GLP drugs to help you lose weight, or you decided to inject Botox in your face, or you're getting hair extensions, it doesn't matter. It's just a modality. But ask yourself question why, and pause, and then really deeply engage with your meaning. If you're doing this because you're correcting something that you're running away from, like for example, I can give you, I had one patient that kept coming back to my clinic because she was dissolving facial filler in her face. And we were doing procedures one after another. So I'm doing the ultrasound. Finally, I'm telling her there's no filler left. We got everything out. And then she still says, well, I feel this here. I feel this. And then finally, I sit down and I ask her, why? Why are you doing this? What are you chasing? And then she tells me that she doesn't want to look like her mother. And that was really heartbreaking because essentially she is her daughter. She will look like her. So that's where that deep meaning comes in. If there is a true disconnect with who you are and you're trying to be someone you're not, that's when you run into problems. So the tools they become, because they are very powerful tools, right? So whatever you choose to do, if you just get the treatment again, whatever that's either you got hair extensions or you trying the new makeup, you immediately feel lifted, you feel empowered. But if you only rely on that tool to carry on that feeling, that you become addicted to it. It's almost like using drugs in a way, right? So you're always chasing the high. But if you just deeply ask yourself, why am I doing this? And am I doing this to truly love myself, to support myself through like aging, we'll say? I am supporting my skin. I understand what this modality does to my body. I'm making choice consciously to do this. I understand the medical implications. I understand possible contraindications, complications, and then I still making that choice. Then yes, it becomes the moment of empowerment. But again, it's all just, it starts with that very deep psychological self-trust. And I think for every woman to establish that self-trust, she needs to deeply understand her body. And it's also start with trying to filter all the noise that exists now, because we are living in the 21st century. We are so bombarded by information, right? Every person with camera has some kind of opinion about something, and they all propose to be gurus and wellness coaches and whatever you say. So filter information and again say like, what is this person trying to sell me something? I actually do turn out immediately if I'm listening to whoever wellness coach and they're at the end tell me, well, now take this supplement that's going to fix everything. I tune out immediately because there's no supplement, no serum, no injectable that works for everyone. If whatever information they're giving me helping me to understand what's happening within my body, that's different. Then I can actually tune in and I can start making choices for myself because now I understand what my body needs.
Right. But that's where things get complicated, right? Is because what I see happening a lot in this conversation is women are saying that we are so manipulated by the beauty standards of today, right? Celebrity culture being the number one, like the very prevalent conversation that I'm seeing being had is that celebrities at this point are getting so rail thin. They're getting so much work done to their faces. A lot of people are claiming that celebrities are starting to look the same because they're all getting the same thing done. And then it's impacting women as well. So you have celebrity culture, which essentially establishes this is what we think is trendy or the fad of right now that women then tend to follow. Then we also have, you can go as far as the patriarchy and how that plays
Mhm.
a part in how women feel about themselves.
Yes.
So it's so hard for women to identify, is this coming from a place of, let's say, empowerment or self love? Or is this constant self manipulation or changes that I make to my body or my face? Is this coming from some kind of outside source? And
Yeah.
it's almost hard to find where it's coming from for a lot of
Yes.
women.
Yes, yes. No, you absolutely nailed it. And let's face it, we are first generation of women that's aging in front of million mirrors. Because I mean, when I was growing up, we had no iPhones, right? We didn't have cameras everywhere. Now I'm watching my daughter and everything is recorded. She sees her face and a million angles and often in terrible light. So it's nearly impossible not become self-conscious of your appearance, and especially as a teenager. So often if I have any kind of a negative talk on my head, because trust me, we all do, you have days when you absolutely hate reflection and you have the other day when you absolutely love it. And I think the power comes with acknowledging the difference and then really respecting yourself on the days when you just don't like your reflection. It's okay. It's almost like having a bad mood. I always kind of refer to it almost as a weather. One day so you're going to have a sunny day and then the other day is a thunderstorm, and you just kind of flow through it. Allow yourself to feel those feelings. We're humans. We're supposed to have imperfect days. If you expect to always look like a polished celebrities, you will lose at that game period. And also consider majority of those celebrities, they don't look like this every day. When they go on a red carpet, first they spend hours, probably entire day, sitting in a chair and get every possible nick and tuck and polish and spray and everything that normal woman would never look like this. And then as she goes on the red carpet, they're gonna take millions of pictures of her. And from those millions of pictures, they're gonna pick one to put in the magazine. And even that picture is gonna be heavily photoshopped, filtered, and whatnot. So why would you expect yourself to be that? And sometimes, even consciously recognizing it, you will still look and you'll still compare. And I think, again, the power, the self trust comes with of recognizing it. This is what I'm doing right now. I looked at, I don't know, let's say Demi Moore on the red carpet, and she looked stunning. And I'm 50 something and I don't look like this. Yes, I'm having a bad day. I'm going to have a pity party and think that I'm fat and I'm ugly. And just let yourself have that. That's okay. But then you wake up next morning and then ask, what does my body need? Am I treating my body with love? Did I give it enough nutrition? Did I give it enough sleep? If you're trying to beat your body into submission, you will never win in this journey. Your body is a living organism. Your community of these 30 trillion cells that want you to thrive and to live forever. And you have a big, beautiful brain to put it in the best possible environment. So if you're constantly meeting yourself in that toxic message, it's okay to acknowledge that. It's okay to have that moment. Then, okay, I feel inadequate. But then take a deep breath and say, I will never be perfect. There's just so much beauty and female imperfection.
Yeah. And you brought up a really great point, and that is if it's coming from a place of essentially punishment. And this is the same in the health and fitness space with what we see with diet culture, right?
Mhm.
Is a lot of people are actually coming at their health and fitness journey from a place of punishment, of self hatred, self loathing, or whatever deep, like whether it's trauma or insecurities that they hold. And there's this belief pattern where they believe, okay, if I change my body, if I lose the weight, if I get abs, if I have biceps, if I, fit in a size zero, all of my problems will go away. It actually kind of brings me back to I watched the Biggest Loser documentary, and one of the women who was on it said that her husband had been cheating on her. And for her, being on The Biggest Loser it had this other message of like, oh, if I lose the weight, my husband will love me, he won't cheat on me, and my marriage will be stronger, right? And so that's just like a very quick example of how for a lot of people changing our body, changing our face comes from a place of deep, deep, deep insecurity. But instead, if we take it from a place of self-love, like I love myself, so therefore I will take care of myself, it becomes
Mhm.
a completely different message and motivator.
Absolutely. And then at that point, it's no longer diet. It becomes a lifestyle. And at first has to come with a change of stop treating temporary diets as a temporary fix because body is not temporary. Another thing in diets that we go from very reductionistic point of view. We take food away. This is bad. Don't eat this. Go carb free. Let's do more protein. Women need to do this. It's overwhelming. It's exhausting. So instead, what I always tell my patients if we talk about diets, I said, put three colors on your plate. Beige and brown doesn't count. Yellow cheese is not color either. So we're counting plants. You have three colorful plants on a plate. Don't worry about your macros. Don't worry about your protein. You're going to get very highly nutritionally dense foods and your body going to thrive. And then when you approach that from the moment of adding to it, I tell women just we live in such a privileged country. We have food from all over the world. Go explore. Go to the local grocery store and see what's new color purple you can find today and try it. You've never tasted that plant, figure out how to cook it. It becomes very exciting. It becomes that really fun game. And then slowly, but every day, it becomes a lifestyle. But again, if it starts with more so the moment of you nourishing yourself, and you also go into that fun game of discovery, playing that let's do three colors instead of counting macros, that's where the beauty, the health, and then the size happen magically.
Yeah, and I do think that's a great approach in a certain way. Of course, you know, there's so many approaches to this. And one of the things that I agree with wholeheartedly with you on is the concept of addition, right? We spend so much time focusing on dieting and taking away and eating less. And what I've always liked to focus on is adding more to your plate
Mhm.
in different ways. So like
Yeah.
you've said, adding more color, or for some individuals, it does mean adding more protein. For some
Mhm.
people, it does mean maybe tracking their macros so they can add more fuel so they're no longer starving themselves, right? It looks different in so many components, but it's that key piece where we're no longer saying, I can't have. So,
Mhm.
in the discussion of the cookie versus the kale, it's not, I can't have the cookie. It's at a base level, are we nourishing our bodies? And then usually when we feel full and satisfied and when we get adequate macro and micronutrients within our diet, our cravings go down and we're not driven to, let's say, eat sweets in excess. And it becomes, I eat the cookie when I want the cookie. And that's
Yes.
when your entire relationship with food can change.
100% agree with you because it comes down to this very peculiar psychological phenomenon. What you avoid controls you. So if you constantly avoiding eating cookie because it's not part of your diet, it will be controlling you mentally, and you sooner than later going to cave in, eat not just a cookie but the box of cookies, and then give up on the whole diet altogether because now you feel guilty and you're gonna beat yourself up. I ruined my diet. This is over, and then hell broke loose. You forgot to go to the gym next day, and then okay, whatever, I'm back into where I was. So absolutely agree with you that reducing something, taking it away, psychologically deeply controls you. So you will go back to that same behavior.
Yeah. And also, we have to think of it this way is taking action on things like nourishing your body and exercising or moving consistently, getting adequate sleep, right? All of these health promoting habits and behaviors not only have an impact on our bodies, but they also have an impact on our skin and how we age generally, whether it's visibly or physically. And I think that's a
Yes.
key component, right? Because what a lot of people will do is they look towards aesthetics as almost
Mhm.
this quick fix.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm not doing all these things, but if someone just kind of pumps Botox in my face, then I don't have to worry about it. I feel like you take a different approach to this, right? You have a little bit more take care of your internal and then maybe make tweaks to the external to let's say, complement it, but not necessarily to replace it.
Yes, 100%. I mean, I do my best to speak to every single woman that come to me and sits down in the chair and gets whatever injectable, let's call it Botox. And I always say, specifically with neurotoxins, with Botox, they don't erase wrinkles. What erases wrinkles is your own skin. So you're giving your muscles a break. So they're no longer moving, contracting, but now your skin has the opportunity to repair. You have that 3 months window when the neurotoxin is working, when you can nourish your skin, either it's topically with good skincare or doing the 4 pillars of beauty, which is rest, movement, good nutrition, and managing your stress. So if you don't do the basics, your skin will never glow. The glow comes from within. And I always try to give an example of aging women. Think about women that do have wrinkles on their face. There's so many examples of even celebrities. I mean, yes, many of them have plastic surgery and they have perfectly unmoved, masky kind of faces, but there's so many that do age naturally and they look absolutely stunning. Where that grace, that beauty coming from? She looks 60 or 70, whatever age she is, and yet she's still absolutely magnetic, stunning, and we still think that she is an icon of beauty. It doesn't come from the frozen face and absence of wrinkles. It comes from that internal glow, from her posture, from her healthy body, from the way she engages with the world, right? That bright spark in her eyes, that beautiful smile, that humanity in the face. And that's what we need to cultivate. And it comes again from that self trust. It comes from that moment when you nourish yourself and you know you're doing best to age, to glow at the best possible way.
Yeah. And so, how are you working through that with some of your patients who sit in your chair? You mentioned that you're having these conversations, but how far do you think these conversations are going for you?
Uh, Well, not everyone open, yeah, as you can imagine. And I'm sure you had patients too that will come to you and they say, well, I want to be size 0 and I really don't care whatever program you give me. Can you just do the GLP-1 drugs? Like, I don't know if you prescribe that or not, but I have plenty of it when people just like, well, I don't like exercising, just inject it and everything will be great. So with those women, yes, I do inject Botox for a living. I will still treat them. I have rejected patients, young patients, that want to do preventative Botox. I basically send them away. And I said, I refuse to mangle your beautiful face. And if you don't believe me and don't want to do what I'm telling you your skin really needs at the age of 25, it's okay. Because I know there are clinics around the corner. Scottsdale is full of them. We have clinic like on every possible corner, and there are people who will do it. So not everyone is open to this conversation, but it doesn't mean that I don't try. I still say. And I think what might not sink in today might sink in tomorrow, might sink in 10 years from now. But all I can do is to go on a podcast like yours and continue talking about this. I'm writing a book about that. It's just trying to have more women engage with that whole notion that beauty doesn't come from external application. It comes within you. And it does come from good nutrition. It does come from restful sleep, but ultimately it comes from this moment of self-love. When you trust in your body, when you still have that internal intuition, when you filter out the unnecessary information, and you're always asking yourself, why do I need this remedy today? Why do I need this treatment today? Is it really good for me?
Yeah, absolutely. And in our positions, we can only try, right?
Exactly.
As you mentioned, like I'm definitely going to talk to women who are like, I just want it easy, or they don't want to necessarily do the things that we always preach, right? And they want that shortcut. That is always going to exist in the population. But the best that we
Yeah.
can do is speak to people and
Mhm.
have platforms like this where we have those discussions and kind of say, hey, like this is going to reach who it's going to reach, and it's going to make a difference in some kind of capacity.
It's true that. Well, at least it makes me feel better, right? So at least I said my piece. And however people take this information and how they're going to process it, it's out of my control. It's like a bird, it's flew out there in the universe, and whoever catches it, that's what it is. But I really believe that woman, once she finds that internal trust and connection with herself, the aging, the life becomes so much easier, because it's not going to get easier necessarily. We're going to have more better cameras everywhere, and our face is going to age on a million different screens. That's not going anywhere. Now we have AI that creates absolutely unrealistic images of women, right? And you cannot be AI model, have tiny little waist and big hips. Is just not proportionally normal for humans. And it's terrible to see that the younger generation absorbs those negative messages, and it becomes part of the identity. And all we can do is just to create awareness, because I think once the woman becomes aware how unrealistic those messages are, how toxic those messages are, that's already beginning of the change. That's something that she starts to question narrative and to say, is it really applies to me? Do I really need to listen to it? Like, for example, when I talk about beauty industry, and it's kind of hypocritical, I guess, because I am part of beauty industry, I always say, look at every single commercial we have about beauty product. It doesn't matter if it's about hair product or it's skin product, makeup. It always goes from, or say, it's a foundation of two very powerful emotions. One's it's fear, and the other one's shame. So every single message we have out there is either you do it or you're gonna lose it, or oh, shame on you, you have all those terrible imperfections, we know how to fix it. So of course, if the woman absorbs those messages, it's almost natural for her to feel inadequate and wanted to fix it and wanted to be better. But once you become aware of the narrative, that's the beginning of change. That's when the mirror starts to crack, and you're saying, like, well, wait a minute. Do I really have a bad nose? Do I really have thin lips? Do those wrinkles really make me ugly? Because I bet you it doesn't.
Yeah, I go through that all the time, right? Yeah. So I've never done Botox. And I mean, we can talk about beauty modifications on such a large scale. Like, for instance, I love makeup, I love fake eyelashes, right? A lot of people are going to say that is a beauty modification in itself. As you mentioned much earlier in the podcast, lipstick and things like that, right?
Yes,
Getting our hair colored, which is something I've always loved to do. And even when I look at, a lot of people around me, look, I'm in Southern California, a lot of people around me have Botox or some kind of plastic surgery modification. It is actually more frequent than we realize, I think.
of
And
course.
every so often as a woman, you get in your head, do I need something like that?
Hmm.
And it comes that time where you decide, am I going to accept the aspects of aging that just come with it, right? Like the crow's feet that are next to your eyes that often come because you're smiling and you're
Yes.
squinting your eyes as a result, right? Or do we try to like buy into something that changes that aspect about ourselves? And it's always a hard tug of war, I think, for women.
It is certainly tug of war, but it's internal dialogue I think the woman needs to have with herself, and then really have enough moments in her life, that moment of peace, a moment of connection. We can just sit there and think about this. Like even for you, for example. So you thinking like, well, is it Botox for me? So first you're asking yourself, question, where is this question coming from? Is it my question? Am I absorbing it from other messages? Because if it's not mine, you just let go of this idea. Don't even think about this. But if you really deeply ask yourself and you say, well, it is kind of mine, because it's been bothering me. I've seen it on photos. It bothers me when I look at it in the videos. And then you ask yourself question, well, why today? Why do I want to do it today? And then learn about the modality, what the tool really offers and what it doesn't. Because there's again so much misconception there. The first thing about Botox, like I said, so many women sitting in my chair and I tell them it doesn't erase wrinkles. People are like, what? No, it doesn't. It really doesn't erase wrinkles. So before you try Botox, well, maybe think about what is your skincare looks like. Are you taking care of that really thin skin? Because so what is your muscles moving? But if the skin is thin and resilient and it's nourished, it has enough hydration, you in California, make sure you wear sunscreen every day. Because if you don't do those basic steps, then what do you want Botox to do for you? And then as for comes for nutrition, your skin needs vitamin C to create collagen. The vitamin C mainly comes from vegetables. So, I mean, I'm sure you eat really well, but most women don't. And then we have women, mainly because I'm Russian, I have a lot of women that come to me, the Russian, Ukrainian. Smoking is so prevalent in those populations. And it blows my mind. So you're spending $600-700 on Botox every 3 months and then you smoke? Like, what? So it comes from education again to really understand what is happening in my body. How is this modality really serving me? Is it really doing what I want? It temporarily will erase those wrinkles, but artificially, if you don't support the body, don't support skin, once you stop Botox, those wrinkles are going to be a million times worse because you didn't improve the skin itself.
It's so funny you said that because so while smoking might be big in Russia, and I think I don't know if it's making a comeback here or what, but it's making a rebrand because everyone's really into vaping. At least again,
Vaping, yeah.
here in Southern California, like everyone's got the vape. And
Mhm.
again, everyone's on Botox. So it's like it's that idea of okay, you're doing a lot of things that cause wrinkles and then we're trying to just spend a lot of money to cover them up rather than kind of looking at the root cause, which is, a very popular thing now to say in the health and wellness space is what is your root cause? What is ultimately leading you to have these insecurities? Is it because you're genuinely not taking care of yourself? Is it because you're engaging in behaviors that are promoting, let's say, more wrinkles or thinner skin or whatever it might be? And
Yeah.
that it's that kind of like very flipped mindset of, well, I'm going to do what I want, but then I'm just going to cover it up with something else later.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's very true. I think it's more so in especially younger populations because the girls are still need to find their tribe. And if they're surrounded by other young girls who do vape, I mean, they will be unfortunately vaping. So, of course, I always talk to my kids, make sure you know who you are friends with because you'll become them. Because even if you are against of whatever behavior they're engaging in, sooner or later you will start engaging with it. And again, it all just goes into the asking question is, why am I doing this to my body? Is my body truly thriving with all the decisions that I'm creating? And yeah, it could be very hard conversation to have with a young girl who is really influenced by others around her because she hasn't really found her identity yet, let's face it. And by belonging to someone, feeling like she's borrowing this authority, borrowing that confidence, but being part of the group and doing the cool things like vaping. Um, Again, all we can do is just to trying to tell them how toxic it is for their body. But often at that age, the kind of it does falls on the deaf ears because unless it's coming from another peer, and I think it's another reason I'm trying to coach my 16-year-old daughter so she can chime in with this into this conversation with me so we can have young voices talking about that because more likely young girls will looking at someone who is the same age because again it's that peer recognition. They want to be part of the tribe because they're still a little insecure. They're growing into their identity. As you become older and you start to kind of mature and understand who you are, it's important to continue cultivating this, to really ask yourself question, who am I? Like, what is my identity? What is my drive? And you're still going to be getting those toxic conversations in your head. That thing called internal self-critic, it's always there, let's face it. And to be honest with you, the older you get, the louder that thing becomes. But what makes it less powerful is to understand your internal self-critic is there to protect you. So typically born in the moments of insecurities, like in high school when somebody made fun of you, and now you just listening to this message because it just tells you, oh, don't do this again. Well, do that. Try to blend in. Do what everyone else do because you just don't want to feel embarrassed and, scared, all those negative emotions you might experience. But as you get older, you understand that first, we live in a planet with billions of people, and you'll always find a tribe that supports you, supports of what you believe in, and it's okay to be different. It takes courage to be different, it takes courage to be disliked by people around you. But if that's what's necessary to really help your body thrive, it's wonderful when you can get that leap of courage and be different.
Yeah, but it really does stem from insecurities. in a lot of ways. So, like, to be fully frank, I smoked cigarettes when I was a teenager and I smoked through my early 20s. I binge drank pretty hard. I quit alcohol maybe about a little over 2 years ago. And these were things that I actively knew in that time were harmful for my health. I was
Mhm.
fully aware of the risks and whatnot, and I still partook. And I still also partook in extremes. But the reasons why I was doing that was because I was so insecure within myself. Now, fast forward,
Yes.
you've got years of therapy and healing and realizing that I genuinely actually wanted to take care of myself in the best way possible. And I
Mhm.
kind of left those things behind. And I'm actively always trying to seek out, like, what is the next thing that I can do to take care of myself? But I think that's where a lot of people miss it, whether it's from, an aesthetics journey, whether it's from a health and fitness journey. A lot of times we're engaging in self-sabotaging behaviors because
Mhm.
we don't love ourselves, because we have those insecurities. And then again, we're putting on this mask, whether that mask is plastic surgery, Botox, whether it's
Mhm.
a very thick skin of makeup, whatever it is, to mask up all of those insecurities rather than actually address the inner piece to it.
Yeah, you're 100% right. And then what I also call it the preforming wellness. How many of us that been guilty of it? I've been guilty of it, going to some kind of a retreat, and you there still on a very high alert and constantly asking yourself, am I doing this right? Am I relaxed enough? Am I breathing right? Am I yoga poses right? Or this girl is doing this better. It's very difficult sometimes to become aware of that toxic dialogue and to really allow your body to disengage and then just listen to your internal voice. And sometimes it's almost impossible. And I think what I'm trying to tell a lot of women, especially my age, because we do become more self-critical as we get older, um, you need to find moments of peace, like at least 10 minutes every day when you just connect with your own head. It doesn't have to be like doing a meditation or journaling. It might work for one woman, might not work for another. But whatever ritual you find that helps you to connect with your internal voice, with your own intuition, make sure you repeat it every single day. And you can try different ideas, I mean, our world of Instagram is full of those ideas, how you can cultivate that self-awareness, right? So do try different ideas of other people. But once you develop this ritual, repeat it every day, because practice is like you're practicing almost a muscle. You're flexing that internal muscle of listening to quiet dialogue, of asking your body, what does my body need today? And that's how you start making different choices. Because let's face it, it's really easy to fall into some kind of tribe, I guess, right? So whatever is an influence on social media that everybody's injecting Botox, or someone you go on and binge drinking with, because you just feel comfortable and you feel engaged and you feel accepted. Because that's our sort of ancestral wound. We as humans always wanted to be accepted into something. It's just, let's back forward millions of years ago when men and women live in the small tribes. If you're not accepted by your tribe and you're thrown outside, exiled, what happens? There are wild animals out there. There's no shelter, no food. You die. So that internal fear, you're smiling, but it's internal fear. It's still with us. So that's why we often fall into this really self-destructive behavior, because we feel like we're going to belong better. But once you become aware of it and also understand there's so many people around you, find the tribe that actually lifts you up. And also find that moment, the peace, the ritual that you do every day, so then you reconnect with your internal voice. Women are naturally very intuitive. We typically feel of whatever disease, whatever the something happening in our body way before your lab work or doctors tell you anything. But we forgot how to connect to it because we live in such a noisy world. Everybody tells you what we're supposed to do. So unless you cultivate those moments of peace when you can really listen to your body, you're going to stop hearing it. And that's really sad.
Yeah, and that comes in so many different aspects. Like, basically what you're talking about is getting in the reps. Like, a lot of time we're okay with showing up to the gym and getting in the reps, but then where things get really scary is taking time to be quiet in our minds, to listen to our bodies, to touch base with how we're feeling. And then a lot of women are like, "Oh no, that's like a really scary place to be. I don't want to be there." But what you're suggesting is finally taking that time to be quiet and to get in tune with ourselves and to actually explore how we feel. And now we get the reps in of doing that.
Mhm.
So that way it doesn't
100%.
sound as natural as a back squat or whatever it is
Yeah.
that we can
Yeah.
relate to.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for people or for women who just start going to the gym, I do encourage them to find other group of women they can kind of cling to first, because again, it's all being part of community. Having that supportive tribe around you. So if it's possible, that's wonderful, because then you will start progressing so much faster. You'll start doing what those women do, and you borrow the courage of doing this heavy squats or whatever heavier dumbbells that you would never think you will ever pick up. You'd be surprised how much stronger women legs are, how much more we can squat. Like, actually, we have stronger legs than men. So to really say that you can do it, like every time when I ride on the treadmill and I'm thinking like, okay, I've done enough, I need to stop, then I always ask myself this question: is it my head telling me that I'm tired, or my legs are? Because usually your body can go far, far longer and farther and do things better than you think you can. So it's always that internal dialogue, Diana. It's really, you have to make sure you learn how to talk to yourself in that very empowering, intuitive, self-loving way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's get into just some, final components. So one of the things I want to bring things back to is skin health. So for women who are like, okay, I hear you. I want to start taking care of my skin from a place of love. And so that way I can age gracefully. What would you say are the key things that women need to start doing? You mentioned a few already, right? Vitamin C, SPF, and whatnot, but is there a skincare routine or is there something that you recommend incorporating so that women can age gracefully from a skin perspective?
Well, before we get into skincare, I want to say that two the most powerful levers you can use to age as gracefully, as slower as possible, are completely free. One, it calls beauty sleep. So you need to make sure you're getting at least 8 hours of sleep. And I'm talking about restorative sleep, not just fragmented sleep, not the sleep that you drink 3 glasses of wine and you passed out, or you had a half a bottle of melatonin. You nourish your nervous system, you shut down all your blue screen devices, and you really fall into good restorative sleep. So 8 hours, your body needs it. So if we're talking about collagen production, guess what, ladies? It's produced when you sleep. So whatever creams, lotions, injectables you're doing it, if you're not sleeping, it's not working. And the second one is the most powerful anti-aging serum is water. So if you're not drinking 2 liters, and it doesn't have to be exactly 2 liters, for small women could be less, but ultimately you should never feel thirsty. If you're feeling thirsty, you're very dehydrated. If you're dehydrated, your skin is not going to look great. You can put whatever highlighter you want, you're not going to get that beautiful internal glow. So that's two very free things. As for skincare, I don't ever sell specific products. All I tell women that your body needs protection and antioxidants in the morning. So if you're going to use anything, make sure your antioxidants, mainly vitamin C, is applied in the morning, and obviously protection in the form of SPF. And at night, it doesn't have to be complicated skincare routine. Usually do something simple, no more than 3 steps. Wash, serum, moisturize. If you have a 10-step skincare, you might do it for 2 weeks and then you'll get bored, exhausted, and then it's going to join another graveyard of skincare under your sink. So just slow down at Sephora, don't do a million different things. There's really no magic in the serum. All products great, but they work better when you use them every single day. So during night, your skin needs to, especially if you live in the hot states like Arizona, California, you need to protect your skin from dehydration. So you're choosing a moisturizer that's most lubricating for your skin type. You need to know your skin type. If you don't, then find a professional who can explain you what skin types are. Not everybody with a shiny skin have oily skin. Usually dehydrated skin can look very shiny. So moisturizer is definitely non-negotiable. Washing off your makeup, non-negotiable. You don't go to bed with makeup on. Your skin is suffocating during this time. It doesn't have time to detox, to breathe, to really rejuvenate itself. And as for the serum, that's where you do all the firming anti-wrinkle stuff, whatever it's peptides or niacinamide, all those beautiful ingredients, hyaluronic acid. So that's where you really nourish and feed your skin with those great ingredients.
I love that answer because it's so minimalistic and it's so approachable. Like the fact that we don't need this 10-step skincare routine because fully I'm so lazy when it comes to my skincare. So
Mhm.
for me, you're speaking my language. I'm like, cool, a 3-step skincare routine, I can do that. And it's about that consistency, right? Like stick to something that you can do, that you can afford, right? So that
Yeah,
something that you can actually invest in long term. And the two key things that people can afford and can do are the sleep and the hydration. So you can't
absolutely.
sleep on those things.
Yeah, I will tell you from the price point of view, because I mean, obviously, you go to medical spa, we have medical grade skincare, it's expensive. Do you really need that? Honestly, not necessarily. You can use quite an expensive cream, like, I don't know, Eau de Olay or Cetaphil, but if it's for your skin type, if it has the ingredients that I'm also, telling you that you should use during the night and during the day, and you do it every single day, your skin is going to be beautiful. I had one customer, I remember she was in her 80s and she came in for facial to our clinic, and she had this beautiful, like this cream and peach kind of complexion. This adorable older lady. And I asked her what she has been using because her skin has been so like well nourished. And she told me Pond's cold cream. It's like one of the original moisturizers created in the early 20th century. And she's been using it since she was like 12-year-old girl. Same cream over and over every single day. And she looked fantastic. Well, I'm sure she also didn't skip her SPF, so that's kind of another part of the story, and protected her face from the sun, period. But ultimately, repetition matters. And what I also trying to teach women, enjoy the skincare you choose. So when you buy in skincare, don't be afraid to smell it, to touch it. Does it make you happy using it? Because as food should give you joy, like that's why I talk about colors on a plate, because you see something that's visually attractive, you like the flavors, the texture, you really enjoying what you're putting in your body, that food is going to have completely different effect on your body than something is you eating a plate of broccoli and hating every single bite of it. Same thing with skincare. If you applying this moisturizer, but you're also doing a little gentle self massage, you inhaling that aroma of that product, and you just really enjoy the experience, even if it lasts only 2 minutes, but you applying it to your skin and just telling yourself those beautiful things that I love my skin. This is so smooth. I really enjoy doing this, even if you're just doing it kind of subconsciously, internally. I'm not a big fan of the positive affirmations because sometimes that really toxic positivity can be really destructive to our bodies too. But just having the moments of joy when you're doing something every day, that's really when that positivity naturally flows into your body without forcing itself to it.
Yeah. And I like that because we can romanticize the action of taking care of ourselves, right? It's not just for a lot of women, like sometimes these things, whether it's eating healthy, doing your skincare at night, taking your makeup off at the end of the day, it feels like a chore or a task.
Mm.
And then we're more likely to either just kind of rush through it or skip it sometimes. And instead, if we just romanticize the activity, I mean, one, it activates your parasympathetic system. So now we're doing a little bit of stress management. You can do whether, whatever you want to call it, whether it's affirmations or just simply just showing yourself love through the process. That can also just boost your confidence in so many ways.
100%. And it's just like you said, it's engaging all your senses when you're doing this. There's a reason why we have all the senses there, the sense of touch, sense of smell. Engage it. Just pause for a moment. That moment of presence with yourself, it doesn't matter how short it is, but if you're cultivating this every day, that's really where that self-trust and self-love live. It doesn't exist in positive affirmations when you're just saying it automatically as a robot, and internally you don't believe in that. You cannot fool your intuition. If you don't believe it, you can say it all you want, but unless you really re-engage and you truly cultivate that feeling within you, and you're just enjoying the process of it, you're looking forward to it. Like, take that beautiful bottle of whatever you're using and look at it, how pretty and shiny, how nice it smells, the texture of it, how velvety or silky that is, and just enjoy the moment.
Absolutely. I love that. I'm going to take that away because I know sometimes for me at the end of the day, doing my final skincare does feel like a chore. Like when I said that, it came from the heart, but I'm
Yeah.
going to take that and romanticize it. So I love it. As we wrap this up, like what is the number one message that you want women to take away from whether it's this conversation or maybe it's something that hasn't been said yet that you think is really important to drop here?
I think the most important, if they're going to take anything out of this conversation, because I know we covered so much, we talk about exercise and diet and we talk about skincare, but ultimately, I want to tell every woman that first, we all going to have a good days and a bad days, and love yourself through the process of good and bad. There's a reason why I say woman, it's like a moon, right? We have a full moon and we have like new moon and there's no moon. So some days you're just not going to be happy in the body you are in. It doesn't mean you need to correct something. So for that day, just take a deep breath and allow yourself to exist and not necessarily dwell on a negative emotion, but at least embrace and allow it to get it through you like a tidal wave. Because trust me, tomorrow you're going to feel different. Don't act on any impulse or any message that you see on social media or TV that you need to fix something. Just pause, breathe, reconnect with your body and think, do I really need that? Where is this voice coming from? Often it's not yours. And once you start asking those questions, you become aware. That's when you're making choices that truly empowers you.
And I'm just going to highlight one key piece that you said that I think really, really stuck out to me. And that was, just because we don't like something does not necessarily mean that we have to correct it. So I think
Correct.
it was so powerful. So if people would like to connect with you further, so whether in person, because you do have some in-person services, but also online as well, where can they find you?
We do have our in-person clinic. It's in Scottsdale, Arizona. The name is Desert Bloom Skincare. You can Google it. We do have Desert Bloom Skincare Instagram account. That's where all our before and afters is. It's for people who are obsessed with Botox and they really need to see if I'm truly, in fact, skillful at aesthetic medicine, which I am. But if people want to learn more and kind of connect deeper, that's where I have my new passion project, unveilyou.life is the website. It's a platform where I'm talking about our reflection, our relationship with our faces, helping women to become aware that her face is not just a face, that's where identity lives. And to understand whatever she's doing to face, it's very impactful. And it could be either very negative or very positive. It's up to her to go into the positive direction. So obviously, I can guide the women to it, but it's up to them to absorb the message. So they can connect with unveilyou.life both on social media, on Instagram, and then we do have a website. And it's a very new platform still, so I'm trying to get more of a free information there. There's also my podcast. They can listen to all those crazy stories that we're talking about in the beauty industry and then toxic messages and all that. I am writing a book. It's not available for pre-sale yet, so I always say to people who are interested of learning about emotional aesthetics and getting a copy at some point, we're going to have a pre-sale open hopefully by May. And for that, you just need to go to unveilyou.life and then put your email there. And once you're on the email list, you'll be first alerted once the pre-sale is open.
Perfect. That's so exciting. So good luck
Yeah.
finishing up with your book and everything like that.
Thank
And thank
you.
you so much. I think this conversation was super, super valuable.
Thank you, Diana. It was great.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Anti-Macro Podcast. I hope you found today's insights valuable and actionable for your own wellness journey. Remember, true transformation comes from consistent, intentional steps forward. If you enjoyed today's episode and want to stay updated on all things health and fitness, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a new episode. I release fresh content bi-weekly every Wednesday to keep you inspired and informed. And hey, if you loved what you heard, I'd be thrilled if you could take a moment to share this podcast with a friend or family member who might benefit from it. By sharing it with others, you're helping them on their wellness journey too. Keep striving for progress, not perfection, and I'll catch you next time.